Goldman and Tui in the line here.
Tui Kamika runs at the outside shoulder of Kurt Capewell. This disadvantages the offensive line. We have a decision.
(2024) with the catches both offensively and defensively being protected. But boy, he's a flyer, Xavier Coates.
Yeah, interesting target. He's so good in the air, Coates. Not sure why they're going there, the Warriors. But Berry up there competing hard. Good signs from him. Remus Smith now with a little late footwork.
And Grant from dummy half as Joe Chan playing just game number 3 of his NRL career. Brings it back towards the halfway line there. Liero in the lock forward role does well. Quick play the ball. Hughes sees a chance. Steps inside Harris. Still going Jerome Hughes. Taken down eventually by Capewell and Barnett. What a run. Head fake from Grant. Goes towards the uprights. Tuapiki is there to stop him. Last play for Melbourne. Comes back to Hughes. Will kick out towards Warbrick. A chance to fly, catch, and score for Melbourne. They go the length of the field, off the back of the penalty, and the kick was perfect for Will Warbrick to put them on the board early.
Yeah, put this down to the Melbourne Storm halfback, Jerome Hughes. Beautiful footwork on the back of a great run from Liero, and he was just slicing and dicing through the Warriors. Melbourne at their best when Hughes is running the footy. A little bit of broken play and he just accelerated, found some space, and on the back of the Harry Grant run, steps up, puts a beautiful kick across field, targeting Montoya, and Will Warbrick, brilliantly placed over the top, and comes down with the footy, and a great start for the Melbourne Storm and a great start for Jerome Hughes.
Well, he's still he's a newbie to rugby league, really, isn't he, Will Warbrick? He's only played the 26 games still in the NRL and had played precious little football as far as rugby league is concerned before linking with the Melbourne Storm. And well, he grew in stature in 2023, and now here he is, leaping high above Marcelo Montoya with the running leap there to grab their first points of the game. Just over 5 gone, a chance here for Nick Meaney. Looks to be a regular centre for Craig Bellamy in 2024 to try and convert from out near the sideline. He'll bend it back. It stays inside the left upright. Terrific opening for the Melbourne Storm. Jake Duke, they lead 6 points to 0.
A great moment for Will Warbrick there, the Storm's Rookie of the Year last year. He scored 17 tries in 25 games, gets his first of 2024 on what is a stunning evening here in Melbourne. A balmy 26 degrees, not much wind either, and nowhere near the amount of dew we saw on the field last week when the Storm took on the Panthers. So hopefully it stays nice and dry for the 23,000 fans here who will get to see a great contest between these two sides. So much talk about the Storm's record over the Warriors, 14 straight wins. They're also shooting for an 11th straight victory, a club record here at Amy Park. A good start for the Storm.
Indeed it is, as Kamikamitha brings it back midfield to work it back towards the 20. And I'll take him to ground there. The Warriors have been on the wrong end of some big scorelines here on Anzac Day evenings in the past. Mick, you and I called one a couple of years ago. Melbourne won that one 70 points to 10.
Yeah. Sean Johnson there just caught offside, a little eager to get up and try and win back momentum as we see Cameron Munster there up in the box here at Amy Park. Just looking at Liero's movements, he's done a great job. I was really impressed with him last week. Last year, an edge back rower, he's developed himself into a lock forward, big, rangy, and he's got some ball playing ability and having an impact already here early.
Pezzett for Hughes, big shift here off the tap as Pappenhausen shows it to Meany and takes the tackle almost back at the halfway line. Set restart here for the Warriors. In defence, that is. Under pressure once again as Grant waits at dummy half. Comes to Kamikamitha, who goes to Pezzett. Service was slick last week. Did everything that Craig Bellamy wanted him to do. He said his defence was up to the mark as well. And if you're going to play for Melbourne, you better bring some defensive attitude to your game. King to play it just outside the 30 as Grant, one-handed pick up there from dummy half. Lussick must have been just square at marker, but only just. King for Pezzett. Looks towards the corner, kicks, chasing through Smith. Also Coates to a peaky. Watch him move and dance. One of the great escapes.
That was brilliant from Tuapiki. Well positioned because that was a nice kick from Pezzett. Short kicking game last week was a feature. That was a beauty. Tuapiki doing a great job to get out of the in goal. And didn't they need that? Oh, Katoa. Out of the line on Montoya. Somehow he just rocked off.
He's got a problem. He might have caught the hip here of Marcelo Montoya, but watch it again. He might have caught the shoulder, in fact. As Montoya came forward, it rocked Montoya, but he came out of it much the worse for wear, did Eli Katoa.
Well, he just carries the ball with brutality. And Katoa out of the line. What a shot that was.
And for the moment, he's going to stay on the field. We'll wait and see if the independent doctor has something to say about that. Didn't appear to be the on-field assessment there. If it was, it happened very, very quickly. So Harris to play it. The Warriors under pressure just outside their own 20, and Johnson having to thread the needle to get the kick away. Goes down to the try scorer. Warbrick bringing it back, and Melbourne well on top early here. Hughes comes to Remus Smith.
Great carry.
Picks up 15 metres to put them back into Warriors territory immediately as Grant goes one way, comes the other. He decides to go to ground for fear of giving away an obstruction penalty. And Pappenhausen takes a turn at dummy half. Finds King, who will just work it up there to be stopped in a mostly one-on-one tackle by Capewell. They're flat here. Pezzett goes to Hughes, kicks out to the corner. A chance to put some pressure on Tuapiki. Watch him dance, reel it in again, and does well to get to ground before they drag him across the sideline.
He's good to watch Tuapiki. He can move beautifully. So too this man. Nice footwork there from Tuivasa-Sheck. Just getting on the outside of Kamikamitha. The set starts to roll now. Zalesniak.
Johnson, no looker for Capewell. That was adventurous inside their own 20. They've done well as Berry will play it here to get them out of trouble midway through the set. Watani Zalesniak, try scorer extraordinaire last season, 24 in fact, to set the club record. Big carry by Fanua Blake. They're back at the halfway line as Lussick feeds it to Johnson, gets the kick away, got a nudge for his trouble in kicking, and they'll get a penalty off the back of it.
Try to make the tackle, mate. He's in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, you certainly can't attack the kickers.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He kicks it and he's in the air.
Nothing more than a push, but it's certainly something that's been removed from the game. You can hear there the referee saying you can't do that, can't put the kicker in that sort of position when he's so vulnerable kicking the footy. And the Warriors now with a really good opportunity to get themselves on the scoreboard when it's been all Melbourne. They have been so dominant early.
So, unsurprisingly, Eli Katoa taken from the field for the full HIA. Surprising that didn't happen off the back of the collision because he didn't seem to be all there for a few moments off the back of that collision with Montoya. And the Warriors just outside the 10. Lussick comes across to Tohu Harris. Grant around the legs, picking up from where he left off last week against the Panthers. They go flat to Johnson at the back. Tuapiki, they've undone them as simply as that. The decoys dragged in defenders, and there was the open pastures on the right edge. Watene Zelezniak, he scores for the Warriors. In a moment, they should be locked up at 6 apiece.
This is so beautifully executed. We saw the Storm only moments ago get it wrong when Pezzett went through, tried disallowed. But the lead runners here get their execution absolutely perfect. Lussick out of dummy half, gets to Johnson. And the lead run there from Rocco Berry was absolutely superb. Detailed to perfection. Tuapiki out the back. Great pass selection from Johnson. Look at this. So direct. And then Tuapiki just held up Coates perfectly. And the flying mullet was, he gets one at Amy Park.
Oh, the flow in full effect once again here at Amy Park. And listen to those Warriors fans as we take a look at the Harvey Norman replay here. Brings it around to a better position like all the good wingers do for a kick here in a moment. And the reception he got, there is a big portion of Warriors fans at Amy Park this evening.
Yeah, always is down here in Melbourne. And it was one of their plays that they rolled out last year a number of times with great success. And it's Johnson taking control of their attack. We said he had to tonight without Egan, and with their first shot tonight down on Melbourne's line, that was perfect from Johnson.
Metcalf with the extra 2 points. We are locked up here, 6-all at Amy Park as we go downstairs to Jake Duke.
This is Johnson at his absolute best here. You can just see how direct he played. Those lead runs, so narrow and congested. And that really dragged in and tightened up that line of Melbourne. And then that left Coates vulnerable, but that was brilliant from that man. Johnson stepping up. That'll please Webster, the coach.
Stay on.
See what they can produce here off the restart, Melbourne, after getting the ball back. And they found the touchline to begin the game. Couldn't replicate the effort here as Fanua Blake brings it back. We've got a good one here.
Great carry.
And the nightcap on Super Saturday. The Warriors 6, the Melbourne Storm 6, and the effort of the carry, Mick, draws the penalty, and the Warriors have just withstood the early assault. They've got themselves back into the game.
Yeah, no Big Nelson at the moment for Melbourne, no Asper Solomona, and you could just feel the middle forwards, King, Liero, Karma Kamitha, they got on top early. The ruck speed was there for Hughes to run. Grant was starting to get out of dummy half. Well, Fanua Blake's taken it personally. Then all of a sudden he started to dial it up a little through the middle and starting to go after the Melbourne pack.
Touching at a knee or a leg there was Mitch Barnett after playing the ball. As Harris takes it beyond the halfway line. Lussick for Fanua Blake. Johnson on the left-hand side. Links up with Ford, who goes almost through them. Hughes makes an important tackle there. Lussick, Fanua Blake. Bypasses Tuapiki. Runs into the tackle there of Chris Lewis. He's out there on that left-hand side of the field. Harris now. Take it back towards the edge of the red zone. They lost their way when the ball hit the deck from Fanua Blake. One more here. It's Johnson, who just chip it towards the corner. Chance for Watene Zelezniak. In fact, they just let Xavier Coates make the catch. That's a curious tactic. inside the 20 and you don't make a contest of a kick towards the corner.
The only thing I can think of is they're landing on Coates, and that takes him out of these early plays. Where he is so effective carrying the footy. Pappenhausen now a much smaller body, but gets the offload. Hughes threatening again.
He's away. He's got Meany with him, the speedster. It's a race now, trying to get to him. Rocket Roger. He couldn't stop him. Nick Meany runs away to score for Melbourne. Off the change of possession, Jerome Hughes having a game here so far tonight, links with Meany. He just burnt the turf.
What a find he's been, Nick Meany. And it started with Pappenhausen, got through his first full 80 minutes in a long time last week, gets the ball over the top. Hughes has been in run mentality, and that's when Melbourne are at their best. Cuts through the Warriors' defence and finds Nick Meany looming up the inside. He has been so reliable, so consistent, Nick Meany, in every position that he's been called upon. So much so that they've found a home for him now at centre, and great acceleration. Pulled away from Tuivasa-Sheck, pulled away from Rocco Berry. And Melbourne go the length of the field on the back of some brilliance from Pappenhausen, Hughes, and now Meany. What a try.
What a pickup he has been for the Melbourne Storm. Look at Jerome Hughes pumping up his team. They're back on top here early. The try scored a kick from right in front. Craig Bellamy off the win last week. So impressed with the efforts of Nick Meany. Said it was stunning to him that when he linked with Melbourne, Nick Meany just lacked a bit of confidence given the talent and what he brings to his rugby league. He can play in the centres, he can play anywhere in the back line. He's played in the halves in the past as well. And from right in front, he makes it 12 points to 6. But the veteran coach said all he needed was a bit of backing. And with that confidence now, watch Nick Meany go. It's Melbourne 12, the Warriors 6.
And it all started with that man, Brian Pappenhausen, and then Jerome Hughes has had a terrific start to this game. He had a career-high 23 try assists last season. He's already got 2 try assists here tonight. That first kick out to Will Warbrick, and then he finds a flying Nick Meany through the middle of the field. Nick Meany played 25 games at fullback last year for the Storm, and he backed up like a fullback there, didn't he? Straight up the middle, but looking to lock down that centre spot. Now that Justin Olam has departed the club, he's started the season in fine form.
Absolutely, as the catch goes to Hughes and Kamakamitha brings it back here for Melbourne. So a rapid fire opening in the first 16 minutes of this game. 3 tries, 2 to Melbourne, 1 to the Warriors as Lewis, who was out there now with that change for Katoa.
It's an interesting point you make, Warren, because I watched that press conference too. There's been a number of players over the years that, like, whilst he's had so many stars, Craig, yeah, you think of your Dale Finucanes, your Ryan Hinchcliffes, well, yeah, Nick Meany, the minute he got mentioned in the press conference, just a little wry smile. Craig loves those guys, and the confidence that he's given him, as we see this starting to get a little messy here with Joe Chan.
Play the ball. Go for.
He and Rocco Berry having a bit of a chat there. Play on is the call
Last tackle, Marcus.
from the referee. One more here for Melbourne. As Grant comes across to Hughes, who might have been tackled in the air here. We'll see if there's a whistle coming. Yes, there is. It's tit for tat. It happened to Johnson. And now Chris Butler says you can't do that. And Melbourne, what a chance here to put a double-figure lead here. As Lassie came across, tackled around the legs. He was in midair, and Jerome Hughes said, "Sir," and he got the penalty he was looking for.
They've done such a great job, the Warriors, after a hot start from Melbourne, to get themselves on the scoreboard and get back to 6-all, and then just started to fall in a hole. That's a big penalty from Lussick, an unnecessary one. And you would think Meany would throw this over from there.
You'd have taken the 2 here as opposed to going for 4, if not more.
It's a little bit of Melbourne mindset early in the season. Just keep the scoreboard ticking over. Keep earning. Keep working hard. And there he is there, Craig Bellamy, just pondering his next move. And deep discussions with his assistant coaches. He'd be wrapped with their start. The try to Zalesniak is disappointing, but there's been so much to like with Melbourne's start.
Armini kicking them well. Makes it an 8-point lead here. Not quite midway through the opening half. Melbourne 14, the Warriors 6. The Sunday ticket tomorrow, as well as the Matty John show coming your way on Fox League. It's a big one. The Sea Eagles and the Roosters back from Las Vegas going head-to-head. Brookvale Oval, 4 Pines Park. It's a sellout tomorrow. It'll be a big afternoon on the northern beaches. That one followed by the Dolphins, trying to bounce back after being manhandled last week by the Cowboys. They're up against the Dragons, and they have got their supporter pace very excited given what they showed last week against the Titans. Matty Johns to follow that, all coming your way on the Sunday ticket tomorrow. It's Kamikamitha here. Melbourne on top by 8. It's Lewis out there at the moment for Eli Katoa. Grant waits at dummy half. Here's Liero tipping it on. Bypasses Peasant. It hits the deck, and Barnett puts some real pressure on Remus Smith. So they're back at their own 20 midway through the set, and a couple of good carries here now. Liero, this time in a running roll, gets to the ground quickly. Grant takes the chance, one tackle early to kick on the front foot. Finds Tuapiki, who still is wrapped up there just inside his own 40, and he'll play it very quickly to Metcalf, who put a pass on for Montoya, who couldn't hang on to it. A simple mistake by the Warriors, and here come Melbourne again.
And that's what I talk about, the Melbourne Storm. They just keep earning it. Harry Grant going the early kick, just getting possession back down the other end. And it's the Warriors, a little bit of lack of concentration, a little bit of fatigue. Misdirected pass there. And Montoya unable to hang on to it. He's disappointed, and rightly so, Andrew Webster. You just cannot afford to have those type of errors down here in Melbourne.
Grant off the back of the scrum finds Peasant. Comes to Remus Smith, and he's taken down there by Rocco Berry as Pappenhausen jinks and tries to step his way past Johnson. Did that effectively. Finds Chan, who runs towards Jackson Ford. He took some stopping as well. Had quite the gallop up. He brings it to the edge of the red zone. Grant comes to King. Here's Hughes. Lewis, one-on-one for a moment there with Metcalf. 3 plays gone from just 10 metres out. Hughes goes through Liero. Peasant back on the inside. Pappenhausen. What a ball from Chan. Flying through with the mullets looking as good as ever. Ryan Pappenhausen makes it a big lead now for Melbourne.
Absolutely brilliant. Well executed play here from Melbourne. Going coast to coast. First they go right. Beautiful play out to Lewis, and then a sweeping play where Liero links up with Hughes, then out to Chan, and that's when Pappenhausen is at his best. It's a model that we saw develop when the great Billy Slater was playing for Melbourne, lighting up Amy Park, and now it's seeped into the modern gameplay. This time it's Grant, Hughes, Liero through the middle, and Peasant finding Chan on an edge, and just looming with speed and evasion. Back through the middle, one of their favourite stars, Ryan Pappenhausen, back to his best and back on the try scorers list. How good is it to see? Melbourne dominating.
Well, he's due a run of luck, isn't he, given what's happened over the past couple of seasons. Firstly with the shattered patella, and then to return last year at the back end of the season only to suffer the ankle fracture, the dislocation as well. It was a significant one, but he's back. He's been good to go for some time during the pre-season, despite having that shiner in the left eye. He's got the lights shining on him here tonight to make it 18 points to 6. Boy, things have got away from the Warriors very quickly, and Meaney can make this a 14-point buffer.
Well, they're getting punished for errors. As we see Mooney hit the left upright, Melbourne just punishing the Warriors for fundamental errors at the moment.
Let's go downstairs to Jake Duke.
Wasn't it great to see Ryan Pappenhausen crossing the line, guys? A very popular player here in Melbourne. That crowd went up. All of his teammates come running over to congratulate him on what is his 50th career try, the flying mullet. Ryan Pappenhausen back to his best. And more good news for the Melbourne Storm as well, guys. Eli Katoa has passed his HIA. He's due to return to this game very soon.
Well, that is good news. There he is, in fact, with the interchange card in hand to return after undergoing the HIA. Hughes with the catch. And it's Kamikamitha again. Sets the standard for them on the early carries. And brings it back to not quite the 20-metre line. Important here for the Warriors. They stay with Melbourne in the remaining 16 minutes of this first half. Otherwise, the nightmare of those big scorelines, Mick, we spoke about, especially on Anzac Day evenings, and there's been quite a few of them here at Amy Park in the past. They'll come back to haunt the Warriors. Lewis being driven backwards, well inside the 20 now. Strong effort there by Tuivasa-Sheck. Grant comes to King. Runs to Harris and company. 4 plays gone. No chance for Grant to kick early this time. In fact, it's Pezzett who does it. Out there on the left-hand side, finds the turf. It works out well for Melbourne. Grant leading the chase as Tuapiki turns. Sees the Melbourne number 9 and they wrap him up just outside the 20. Melbourne kicking a play early and to good effect.
Yeah, that was lovely work from Pezzett. Kicking long in the chase from the captain, the new captain, Harry Grant, inspirational. Accelerated down onto Tuapiki, and the Warriors back under pressure. Possession at the moment, just killing the Warriors' middle forwards. Fatigue really settling in.
Melbourne have had 65% of the ball. Just on 2/3. Watene Zelezniak grimaced as he was hit there. Did he wear a shot in the ribs? No, he's clutching.
I think it was Lewis that went low, and the moment he came into the tackle, Zelezniak grimaced, you're right. He just drops down here, Lewis.
It wasn't a classic hip drop motion, but his body weight, his upper body, falls there on the legs. You watch, it's already happened there, but he didn't swing his legs off the ground in the classic hip drop style, but all the same, a comfortable one there for Watene Zelezniak. Now Barnett on the last. Go to Johnson, who just drive it through the line this time. Coates happy to watch it go into touch in front of a very well populated northeast corner of Amy Park, with the Warriors trailing by 12. You mentioned, Mick, a long time since the Warriors have had success against the Melbourne Storm. 14 straight games they've lost to them. It is quite remarkable. You just don't see streaks of that nature in the NRL. You go back to 2015, the last time the Warriors beat them. Bruno Mars and Uptown Funk. That was the big hit around the world. That's how long ago it is.
It's a long
Melbourne
time
Storm
ago.
were beaten by the Warriors. You couldn't go on TikTok either to sing Bruno Mars because TikTok wasn't invented. Maybe that puts it more in perspective for you. The Storm will play it here, 15 short of the halfway line. Harry Grant comes to Hughes, taken down there by Lussick. Quick play the ball. Grant wasn't even there, but a heads-up play. Sees it, drives it into touch, and Melbourne will make the Warriors work it away from the edge of their own 20.
Yeah, he didn't hit that perfect. Harry Grant having to rush to dummy half when Jerome Hughes was tackled, and just watch the drop here. He cuts across the footy and almost sliced it straight into touch.
Would appear, though, as Watene Zelezniak works it away, the weight of the captaincy hasn't proven to be a burden for Harry Grant. It seems as though he's relishing it.
Yeah. It's been an excellent start to the year for the Australian dummy half.
Capewell playing it, thought he might have been due a penalty there. The referee disagreed. Quick hands from Metcalf, comes across to Ford. And they bring it back beyond the 40. Melbourne up in their faces, limiting the metres here for the Warriors. Lussick, Fanua Blake, who is the expert at gaining metres, gets an offload this time. Harris tries to get away there from Chan, almost did. Grant helped out, Nice work by the Warriors skipper. Barnett runs towards King. With one more left there, 30 metres out, trailing by 12. Johnson on the right-hand side again. Goes towards Coates once more. He goes up to make the catch. They try and catch him, hold him up, and drive him back into the in-goal area, but he does well to get to the turf. Now Smith takes the carry. We'll see if the Warriors can bring a bit of heat here and make Melbourne kick it from deep inside their own territory. Warbrick on the angle. Boy, metres after contact. That was impressive there.
Both their wingers have been excellent in this first half, carrying the footy in yardage, as Lewis now in heavy contact with Barnett. Coates and Warbrick have been tremendous.
As Grant comes to Christian Welsh, the former skipper working off the bench. Playing just under half an hour last week as the kick from Hughes goes down here to Montoya. He's got Tuapiki back there with him. Liero comes up to make it a straight line, and Katoa, who is back on the field, makes that tackle. And the Warriors begin inside their own 20. Need to get away without an error here, having made a couple and having paid a price for it. Metcalf. Forward Tenny Zalesniak. Pops it out the back as well. Loves an offload, does DWZ. They wrapped up Metcalf pretty quickly, but they held on too long. Trent Liero just a little bit too long there in getting off the tackled player.
It's a big part of their success last year, wasn't it, Warren? The carries of Montoya and Zalesniak. Montoya started that, and Zalesniak off the back fence. You're right, he got another offload, and that was just enough to break up the Melbourne defensive line and make the tackle a little messy.
Off the tap restart. Buntiafoa is out there now for Andrew Webster. Looking to see a response from his team before the break here. Dylan Walker going forward. Some speed through the middle now for the Warriors. Harris remains on the field. Walker gets a set restart. Harris tips it on. Afoa finds his elbows and knees to play it just outside the 20. Comes to Harris. Johnson to a Tuapiki out the back. Double pumped it. Berry up against Smith. Got some stopping. Got some help there from Coates. They're only a couple of metres away. Wateni Zalesniak feeds it for Johnson. Harris met by Welsh and also Grant. They've still got three plays here. Lussick looking. Heads back to the short side. Tuapiki fires an intercept to Xavier Coates. Harks back that style of play, hurried and panicked to what they did in the second half last week against the Sharks.
Their attack still looks good. When they're down attacking Melbourne's line, they're asking plenty of questions, and that time Tuapiki just didn't get his pass selection right. A little poor pass out of dummy half from Lussick, but Johnson looking dangerous still, really dangerous.
Alec McDonald is there now for the Melbourne Storm. Plays it quickly for Grant, and Hughes on the front foot. Kicks it down all the way to Wateni Zalesniak to round and bring it back. He brings it back as hard as ever, but they're there to meet him. McDonald and Welsh said, Dallin, we're ready, willing and able to meet you.
That was a great shot, McDonald. Great technique under the ball. Tuivasa-Sheck now starting to dance and try and find his way through. Here's the shot. Stays tall, drops low underneath, and drives him into the dirt. Great shot from McDonald and Welsh.
Done well to bring it back to the halfway line. Johnson, a ricochet here, pressure on Pezzett, who knocked it on. It'll be 6 more tackles coming up for the Warriors.
Look on Melbourne first.
He was fairly cautious in trying to pick it up there. It was spinning awkwardly for him. A quick word from Ryan Pappenhausen to say, forget about that, defend it in this next set. He went to ground, it spun away from him. In the end, it was like a cobra.
Yeah. Ryan Pappenhausen talked about the dew last week on the ground. Still warm conditions down in Melbourne, but they didn't handle the dew, he said last week. There was a number of errors. You could see there, the ball just spinning and skidding. Really difficult for Pezzett to be able to pick up. And Johnson now, a real opportunity to close the gap. You get the feeling it's him he's the danger man.
Tuivasa-Sheck. Really had a chance so far in this opening half hour plus to show us what he can do as Walker finds Harris. Goes towards the uprights. As Lussick waits here at dummy half. Mix up there with Liero. Could have been another set of 6 for the Warriors. Lussick taken down by Pappenhausen. Good defence by the fullback. Harris for a forward. Bounces off the shoulder there of Chan. Welch and Katoa need him. And he's only a metre or so away. From Lussick to Johnson, comes out the back. Metcalf a tip on, a race to the corner. Montoya, he got there. It looked like the ball hit the turf at the first occasion. Chris Butler agrees, and the Warriors strike back.
Well, they've come here with a plan, and Sean Johnson is executing it superbly when he gets an opportunity. They are running double lead shapes out wide and really dragging in the defence. This will show it perfectly. Lovely long pass. Look at this. The double leads there going inside and outside of Jerome Hughes, making the centre have to feel like he needs to come in and help Hughes, and that is leaving space out the back. Great skill here from Metcalf. The tap on was beautiful. Warbrick jamming in. That left plenty of space for Montoya, and he only knows one way to the try line, and it doesn't matter who's in front of him, but it's Johnson doing the damage. And it's executed beautifully. The same play on the right side for Zalesniak to score. They have now rolled out on the left, and it's Montoya who picks up their second try. Does he get it down? Jerome Hughes, great covering tackle. I'm not sure on that first look he got the footy down here. Have a look at this, Was.
I thought just right there initially he got the ball down. The referee, maybe with the advice of the touch judge, thought the same thing, because he doesn't get it down, I don't think, there.
I don't think he gets it down.
Well,
Looking for a potential hold up whether he gets the ball down or not.
importantly, the on-field call was try.
Yeah.
So you'll need clear evidence he doesn't get it down.
Montoya grounds the ball short of the line. The ball is not grounded. He's then rolled over by Jerome Hughes in the end goal. We're playing on at this point. We're now just looking at the touching goal line.
His foot goes out. Touches the line.
Talk about double jeopardy.
Yeah. What an effort. Like you mentioned, the resilience of the Melbourne Storm defence was back last week. That's a moment there.
The ball is always up at this stage. Marcelo Montoya's foot touches the touching goal line. We have a decision.
That's huge from Jerome Hughes. And look at the response from his teammates. What a night he's having, the Melbourne Storm halfback.
Are we absolutely certain no part of the ball touched the line on the way through?
I agree. The comments from the bunker were adamant that it was short. I'm not so sure about it.
We only need part of the ball touching part of the line there, and given the on-field call, it seemed to be a very quick call by the bunker. Now, while the celebrations are taking place, quite obviously they are taking a look at the initial replays in the bunker.
Yeah.
So they saw more looks at it than what we saw in the coverage.
Yes.
Wait.
But still, given the on-field call was try, sure we might hear more about that from the Warriors and Andrew Webster beyond full time. So it stays at 18 points to 6. It was so beautifully worked as well. The touch on from Metcalf, the slow-mo of that.
Beautiful. He is developing very nicely with Sean Johnson. Coates has looked for work all half. The positive they take out of it, Andrew Webster, you mentioned him, at half time, every time they've been down there, they've looked dangerous. They have found ways through the Melbourne defensive line.
Here is Katoa. Rising back rower who signed from the Warriors to go to Melbourne. Good eye injury last year, which didn't help his cause. Here is Johnson up in the face. Jonah Pezzett, who will play it here at the halfway line. On the back foot suddenly. Johnson wins the tackle, so they can slow things down there. McDonald standing. Runs towards Metcalf, who's a more robust defender this year. The Warriors 5'8", some 6 kilos heavier. As Pappenhausen goes to Smith. Rocco Berry does well. Gets him around the bootlaces to take down Remus Smith. And on the last, it's Pezzett who puts it high in the air. Hughes chasing through to a Peaky, coming forward, had eyes only on the ball. What a first half he's had.
What a great take. Eyes never left the footy. That was brilliant from Tuapiki.
Watch it again as he goes past Hughes. There been anybody there waiting to smash him, but he didn't care. Left the ground, makes a grab, and has them here bringing it back beyond the halfway line. Terrific play by Tane Tuapiki. Walker, well, this pass, he'd like that moment back. He's given it straight back to the Melbourne Storm in pretty good field position as well. 5 out from half-time. Melbourne still with the better of the football, 55% to this point of the game. And they've completed 14 of 16 sets. They're on the attack here through Warbrick. They're deep on that left-hand side. Welsh goes to the line, finds Pezzett, shows it, runs into Bunty Afua, dumps it out the back. He put McDonald under pressure, and McDonald knocked it on.
Yeah, did very well, Bunty Afua. Big dummy from Jonah Pezzett, trying to find a way through. And he was having none of it, and great desperation there from Tohu Harris. Going towards the collision of McDonald and forces the error and a relieved Dylan Walker after a poor error from the Warriors in the previous set. And they don't get punished. Important 4 minutes here for the Warriors.
They thought they were going to be trailing only by 8, if not 6, off the back of the try. Overturned by the bunker as Jackson Ford. He was dangerous inside the 20 last week as he clutching at a mouth here. Thought he might have got one around the chin, the edge forward. No call from the referee on field. There's Bunty Afua. He'll play it for Lussick. Here is Tohu Harris trying to spin away from the tackle there of Chan. 2 plays remaining in this set for Johnson. Oh, forward pass there to, well, they've got away with one. Capewell from Johnson to Tuapiki, back to Rocco Berry, but it was Tom Brady stuff on the right edge. They've got away with one. Quarterback sneak to the running back. Here's Watene Zalesniak. Comes from Lussick to Johnson, who kicks out wide. Tuivasa-Sheck didn't get a clean run there, and in the end it was Warbrick who flies high to reel it in for Melbourne. That was a bonus kick there at the end of the set because it seemed to be a pretty obvious forward pass missed by everybody.
Absolutely. Well, let's play 3 now, and they've only just got over the 10-metre line. And the Warriors just winning the battle here in the dying stages of the first half. If they can get some possession around halfway, they might get another attacking shot before the break.
Slowish played the ball there for Welch, who did the hard carry. The arrow here going to ground. They'll kick it from just outside their own 20 as Grant goes to Hughes. Comes down this western touchline to a Peaky with the grab. They'll bring it back. They're stopped here as the Warriors begin in pretty good field position. 2.5 remaining in this first half, and a chance to put some pressure again at the back end of the set on the Melbourne Storm. Pezzett, a long time here, surely has to be a set restart.
Great run here for Berry.
Now it was.
Sorry. Come on.
Berry thought it was play on. The referee apologising, saying you were held there. No, Bunty Afua. About 31 metres out, playing it here. Johnson on the left edge, bypasses forward, goes to Metcalf, Tuivasa-Sheck jamming in. It was good work by Warbrick. But it's going.
Jerome, and then you play out the back.
Penalty against the Warriors in possession for an obstruction play.
Hey, got a captain's challenge. The on-foot ruling is an obstruction. Warriors are challenging that decision.
Yeah, I know.
Looked okay live.
I'm going to say, watching it in running, it didn't look to be any issue. Forward.
Jackson Ford runs at the chest of Jerome Hughes and knocks him over. This is an obstruction. The captain's challenge is unsuccessful.
Well,
I'm not sure about that. If you look at Jerome Hughes' movements, as Johnson sinks into the line, he comes towards Jackson Ford.
Hughes was going.
Yeah.
Hughes is going infield.
Absolutely.
Watch it again here. Hughes follows Ford in.
That's right.
At least 2 steps in. The Warriors asking the question, and rightly so. Tohu Harris unconvinced, given what he saw on the big screen quite obviously, and that would be a very, very tough interpretation there by the bunker and the on-field officials.
Well, that's 2 now in the opening half, and no try to Montoya, and now the Warriors lose their captain's challenge on the back of another dubious decision. He might just be cooking up in the box, Andrew Webster.
They had a bit to say about officiating last year, the Warriors, and a fair run of luck beyond that. Wait and see what happens beyond full time here tonight. As Grant from dummy half. Hughes tries to grub her. Peasant was pushing through to a peaky though. Oh, now he loses it in a tackle by Pappenhausen. Andrew Webster can't believe it. And here are the Melbourne Storm about to get a chance again. To a peaky, bringing it back. Did so well initially, and then the ball knocked down and trying to make a tackle there by Pappenhausen. They are desperate to get to the break. No worse off than 12 points in arrears. Peasant. 25 seconds left here. It almost clean bowled Harry Grant there. Pappenhausen offloads and a Johnson tackle. Berry trying to force Smith across the sideline. They might have time for maybe just the one more play here. 10 seconds remaining. Peasant gives it to Loiero. If they can hold him up and slow things down, the siren might blow. He'll get to play the ball in just in the nick of time. Harry Grant goes from dummy half. He caught them out. Kicks wide. McDonald is chasing. Wateni Zalesniak saves the day for the Warriors. What a heads-up piece of play by Harry Grant. Through a big dummy. They were thinking maybe field goal attempt by Melbourne, and Grant almost undoes them as the siren was sounding. Quite the ending to the opening half. At the break, it is the Melbourne Storm at home at Amy Park who lead the Warriors 18 points to 6. Under tragic circumstances in the build-up to this game. So the Storm with the black armbands on in honour of Ryan. And they're certainly doing a good job of paying full respects to him tonight with the way they've gone about their business. Jerome Hughes has been dynamic in attack, but his try-saver to deny Marcelo Montoya in the 34th minute. It'll be a subject of some controversy beyond full time tonight, no question about that, but what an effort all the same to hold up Montoya.
Yeah, brilliant. He came with a real running mindset. His attack looked fantastic, but you're right, that was the key moment for Jerome Hughes in that first half.
We're back underway. Warriors trailing by 12 with the kickoff. It goes down to Hughes, who'll give it to Kamikamitha. He's very good on those early carries on these kickoff sets for the Melbourne Storm so far in this game. Ran for in excess of 60 metres in that opening half. Here's Katoa. Bring it beyond the 20 as Grant waits, scheming and probing throughout the first half. Christian Welch, the news coming through now from downstairs, failed an HIA and is out of the game. So that's a blow as far as the middle third and their forward rotation is concerned for Melbourne. And Craig Bellamy, they're well stocked, of course, with options. Loiero here, 10 short of the halfway line. Grant coming back to Peasant. The kick from inside the 40. Being allowed to bounce by Tane to a peaky. Stepping his way back to beyond the 30. Charles Nickel-Klukstar still out of action for the Warriors. Might be back in round 4, returning from his hamstring issues. We'll wait and see what happens. You'd imagine Nickel-Klukstar goes straight back fullback role for Andrew Webster. But Tuapiki last week and again tonight to this point he's been impressive.
Outside backs here really going to work. Started with Zalesniak, then Montoya. Now Tuivasa-Sheck starting to get his hands on the footy.
Walker finds Johnson, comes to Tuapiki. Here's Rocco Berry with speed and a little bit of room there before he was rounded up by Remus Smith. They're 15 out. Last play here from the right touchline. Johnson to kick across the field. Tuivasa-Sheck is there, tapping it backwards. It falls for Metcalf. Big tackle made by Nick Meaney.
He seems to come up with big plays at the right time, doesn't he? Nick Meaney scored a great try that Jerome Hughes set up for him in the first half. And here with blistering speed, almost getting on the outside. But fingertip grab there from Nick Meaney, and it was an important one.
You'd love to see a 100-metre match race between this man, Nick Meaney, and also Luke Metcalf.
Yeah.
They are blindingly quick. Terrific work again by Meaney in defence as McDonald plays it here. Grant comes across Liero, finds Pezzett, a bit of a space there. He bounces off Kenny Zalesniak, comes to Remus Smith, still going before dragged down by Sean Johnson. Big metres for Melbourne. Pezzett comes across to Grant. He wants to link with Hughes. Tuivasa-Sheck came up quickly. It was in Hughes' face, so Grant hangs on to it. He knocked it on. Is he going to challenge?
You know your option, Harry. Matty, we're on the last tackle. The on-field decision is a knock-on from Harry in the ruck. They believe there's interference.
Well, Chris Butler told him, you know your options. And Harry said, I sure do. I'm going to pull the trigger here. See what the bunker rolls up this time. Going forward.
Harry Grant moves forward from the ruck's position and places the ball on Bunty Afoa's foot, who is trying to leave the ruck. The challenge by Melbourne is unsuccessful.
He's screwed a couple of calls tonight from the bunker. That one, I think, is 100% correct.
Yep. No doubt he was moving forward, and Ford was trying to get himself to marker.
So it's 0-0 as far as the challenges are concerned. That
All
one
over.
we can put to bed tonight. The Warriors will work it here from the scrum feed at their own 30. Wogadan stands to Jake Duke.
The message at half-time, guys, Andrew Webster not happy with his side's errors in the first half. The Warriors making 7 mistakes, costing them in the first 40 minutes. He wants that cleaned up. While Craig Bellamy really happy with the pressure his side is applying, gave Jerome Hughes a big rap for his defensive resolve in saving that try in the first half. Wants his teammates to follow and show the similar desperation in defence in the second half.
He's there waiting once again as Harris comes to Metcalf, runs to Hughes, gives it to Tuivasa-Sheck. He went straight past everybody almost. Runs to Pappenhausen, keeps it alive. Back to Ford. He's got support there in Montoya. Ford still going. And eventually it's Kamikamifa who takes him, but maybe takes him too high.
Gee, that was nice. That's the first time this season that we've seen Tuivasa-Sheck with a little bit of room to move. And how good was that? Beautiful work on Meaney. Got on his outside. Beautiful right-hand fend. There's the offload to Ford, who did well.
They tap it and go. Kamikamifa high shot there. Ford is okay. Walker here inside the Melbourne 10. Big chance for the Warriors to close this gap in the early minutes of the second half. Lussick waiting. There's a foul plays it. Set restart here for the Warriors. Johnson on the inside for Ford. They've worked hard on limiting his whole runs tonight. Good tackle there by Katoa. Lussick for Harris. Here's Johnson. Comes to Berry. What hands? A race for the corner. Watani Zalesniak. He dives in for his second try tonight. What a sight he is at full speed. Plants it down inside the touch and goal line, and the Warriors do grab first points in this second half.
There we go. Their first opportunity down attacking Melbourne's line like they did in the first half, and they find points. This was the high contact there from Kamikamifa on Ford. Watch the pass selection here of Johnson. This is one of the great ball players. Great tempo, steadies himself in the line, holds up the pass, which drags Remus Smith out of position. That is spectacular ball playing from one of the elite ball players in the competition. Johnson, the veteran, just sets up that left edge defence of Melbourne beautifully. Coates jams. And it was just a free run to the line for Zalesniak, who picks up his second of the night. Pezzett did great to come across, but the ball playing of Johnson, absolutely super. How good's that? How good is that for a put down?
That angle there, the slow-mo, the eyes of Dallin Watene-Zelezniak did not leave the point he was going to plant the ball down from the moment he caught the ball. His eyes were locked, laser focused on that spot in the corner in the in goal, and he planted it down with a couple of centimetres to spare only.
He's been super since Andrew Webster's come to the club. His try-scoring ability is, well, we all know it's great. He's come up with some spectacular ones, but just how well he's positioned as Metcalf just pulls it across the face, stays 18-10. But any time they've moved the ball to the right-hand side with Johnson and Zalesniak, they've looked brilliant tonight.
Oh, he is an unbelievable sight. The club's try-scoring single-season record last year. Watch this angle again. His eyes do not leave the point he's going to plant the ball down. Doesn't look at the defence. He knew he had Pezzett covered, and he was locked on that spot the whole way.
So good. That is so good. And he's enjoying himself, and they've closed the gap here, the Warriors. And the second half just gets a little more interesting.
Rocky! HA!
You hear Chris Butler in the background saying to Rocco Berry, who's got half a toilet roll wedged up his hooter, and he has to also go to the sheds now for an HIA.
Well, you'd imagine that'll be Dylan Walker, who's started his career in the centres and quite versatile, probably the most versatile, although Harris Tavita, there's the contact from Coates jamming in. Maybe we'll see Harris Tavita for the first time this evening. God, that's a good put down.
Good time.
Berry, who's been dangerous on this right-hand side for the Warriors. Terrific run by Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the other side of the field to beat Meany as Atiafoa brings it out here and give them that field position, which they capitalised on with the try to Watene-Zelezniak.
Well, they've looked great every time they've been down attacking Melbourne's line. It's just going to take some individual brilliance, whether it's Johnson or that time it was Tuivasa-Sheck out on the left. Someone's got to find that little bit of brilliance to break through Melbourne midfield.
So a reshuffle. It does look as though it is Dylan Walker, unsurprisingly, out here on this right edge for the Warriors. And Fanua Blake will play it at the halfway line. Lasik comes back to Tuapiki. Play number 5, fullback scamper. It's a real trend in the NRL. It's a quick play, the ball. And Johnson has time to hang one here to put Coates under pressure. Walker was there. Good catch made by Xavier Coates. He was locked on that football there and will play it just outside the 10 as Remus Smith takes the carry. So the Warriors with their tails up here early in this second half, despite trailing by the 8 points still, trying to stop the charge of Will Warbrick. He is built like a brick, isn't he? Big carries from inside his own 20 so far in this game for the former rugby union playing winger. Hughes up against Tuivasa-Sheck. Two Kiwi superstars coming together there. Here's Katoa. Benji Marshall left foot step as he brings it back towards the halfway line. Last play for Melbourne. Pezzett to kick across the field. Coates coming forward, wants to make a contest of it. Bats it backwards, straight though to Kurt Capewell.
Yeah, there's a nice kick there from Pezzett going towards one of their real targets, Xavier Coates, who's terrific in the air. Capewell showing his experience, being ready for anything, and cleaned up the mess. Andrew Webster would be wrapped. Jake Duke said it. It had to be their errors that they tidied up in the second half. They've completed their opening 4 sets And now you feel like they're starting to get themselves right into the contest. Tuapiki now bouncing around. Not much of him, but plenty of ticker.
Trying to break a 14-game losing streak. The coach is anxious. They haven't beaten Melbourne since 2015. What a ball by Fanua Blake. Here's Harris now, 25 metres out. Last play for the Warriors as Lussick comes across to Johnson, who'll kick towards Warbrick. Tuivasa-Sheck ends up with the ball. Play on. Ford trying to spin his way to the line. He's gone very, very close. Chris Butler, for the moment, is going to say no try.
Matty, we're still in the last tackle. We have a no try. Confirm that there's no knock on into the grounding, please.
Well, we can officially say welcome back, Roger. He is starting to turn it on. Like the Roger Tuivasa-Sheck that we all came to love.
Onside, we're playing on.
Has just injected himself in the second half into the collision with Warbrick, comes down with the footy. Watch this for a pass.
Does Warbrick knock it on here into Tuivasa-Sheck to give the Warriors 6 more plays?
I would say yes.
Just looking at the contest.
Watch the left hand there of Warbrick.
Touches Warbrick's left hand into Tuivasa-Sheck.
Yes.
Clean take there from Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. We're playing on from here.
That was play on, not touched.
The ball
on
is
the
passed
ground.
prior to the Melbourne player getting on. We're playing on.
Doesn't look overly confident, does he? Jackson Ford.
He wedged against his torso here as he hits the ground.
And again, look at the desperation of Hughes. He's there, so too Mooney. Pappenhausen's there. They're just scrambling
Just reviewing all
brilliantly.
available camera angles to make sure Jackson Ford retains possession.
As it's still there. Oh, and then the ball hits the turf.
Listen to the Warriors fans here. Listen to the support.
I don't think his arm comes away from the ball here at any stage, does it?
Listen to that. It's on the ground at the end.
Forearm on the ball as the ball goes to ground. We might have enough evidence here for an overturn. And the Warriors
The ball is
fans
pinned
certainly
against
would
Jackson
be
Ford's
saying they're
body,
due one.
and the ball continues to be on his wrist. It is grounded on the line.
Here we
have
go.
a decision.
So a little luck didn't go with them earlier in the first half. And this time it does for Jackson Ford, and back-to-back tries now for the Warriors in the second half. And we might just have a 2-point ball game here in a minute. Half an hour still on the clock. Yeah, listen to the fans here. Plenty of Warriors supporters in the crowd. And they are right up and about. The offload from Fanua Blake was absolutely brilliant. And I said it was going to take a bit of individual brilliance that was going to break open the Melbourne defensive line. That is spectacular from the big man. And then off they went. And then all of a sudden now, Tuivasa-Sheck, as we said, starting to inject himself in this second half. Some big plays from Roger. They've cut out the errors, and they are right. Yeah, he's enjoying himself, the big fella.
He's seen himself on the Harvey Norman replay and is loving every second of it. 18-14, kick to come. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck gets up above everybody, comes down with the ball. In the nick of time, pops it up for Jackson Ford. He controls it to the ground. Luke Metcalf converts. We've got a 2-point game. The Warriors trying to break this 14-game losing streak. They trail 18-16.
It's almost 50-50 support here, it sounds like. Warriors fans out in force, and they're loving having this man, the former Dally M winner, former Golden Boot winner, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, back in the NRL after 2 seasons playing Super Rugby and with the All Blacks. This is game 197 of his NRL career, just his second in the centres, getting used to that new position, but he played like the great fullback he is there, taking that catch, offloading to Jackson Ford, and the Warriors are back in this one.
To their eyebrows, here is Bunty Afua. Some fair eyebrows, got a fair afro as well. He'll bring it back to almost the 20. Lusick. It's the Warriors on top in this second half. Try to Dallin Watene as the Lesnier. Jackson Ford opening his account for 2024. Here's a foul, or rather Adam Fanua-Blake, who brings it back to almost the halfway line. No offload this time as Lusick finds Metcalf. Look at him move. McDonald only just grabs him by a bootlace. They're 40 metres out off the back of points here. Good set for the Warriors with the ball in their hands. A kick to put them under pressure again. Coates, though, flying above everybody. Brings it down. Melbourne have to work it away from inside their own 20 here. We've got an absorbing last 29 minutes or just under remaining at Amy Park.
Yeah, they've kicked down that right corridor all night, and Coates just has had all the answers. So good under the high ball. Remus Smith then comes on the next play. Pappenhausen starting to get his running game going here in the second half, but Coates has done a great job distinguishing those kicks down that corridor.
There's Harry Grant jumping out of dummy half. Bypasses Hughes, gets it off there to Eli Katoa. Good tackle made by Tuivasa-Sheck. Peasant's kick. No pressure here on Tuapiki. He's been rock solid at the back and brings it back with interest as well. Tackle just outside the 30. Only for news on Rocco Berry as far as his HIA is concerned. Marcelo Montoya coming in midfield. Rather concerned Craig Bellamy watching on in the Melbourne Storm coach's box. The Warriors 7 from 7 in this second half after they were just 12 from 20 in the opening 40. Metcalf comes across to Tuivasa-Sheck, still stepping. Well, the arrow couldn't get to him. Boy, it's great to have Roger back in the NRL. Lost for a couple of years to rugby union, and he's back where he belongs. Harris, just outside the 30. Here by Kamikamica. He certainly...
They were blowing up the Warriors players, and Fanua-Blake still... You don't see Tohu Harris stay down often. And you can see there, well, it looked like a head clash, didn't it?
That's exactly what it was. Wrapping motion with the right arm around the other side of the neck. I would imagine, given what we've seen, no penalty. That's what the officials say. The Warriors have one more play here. Johnson to kick towards the corner. Capewell and Walker pushing through. Pappenhausen got some help there from Xavier Coates. And the fullback has to make the catch this time as they work it away again. And, boy, a moment there. Oh, Pappenhausen, when the whistle blew, must have had his heart in his mouth, but he was confident he had it, knocked it on. Well, here's the Warriors trying to ambush Melbourne inside the 20. Capewell there with Fanua-Blake. Bunty Afua also making it a three-man stop. Remus Smith. Good carry there, brings it back beyond the 20. They've used up 4 tackles though. It's Grant goes to King. Peasant. Pappenhausen ran in behind the decoy. Now Tohu Harris. He has to go from the field for an HIA on the advice of the independent doctor for a bleeding ear.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a big loss. Tohu Harris gets through a mountain of work. This was the collision with Kamikamica, the head clash, and blood dripping from the ear. And comes from the field now, Harris. Barnett into the action.
Peasant here with the kick off the side of the boot. Great defensive set by the Warriors. And they have hang time on the kick. As Tuapiki brings it down.
He's hard not to like, isn't he? Tuapiki, just the way he gets across the ground. He's electric, the little fella.
And on have been fortunate, Melbourne, not to get an obstruction penalty against them when Chan ran the decoy and they went around the back of him. And when the whistle blew, well, the Warriors initially thought that's what it was going to be for. Set restart here for the visitors tonight. Lussick at dummy half. Across on this left-hand side where Tom Ali works it down to almost the 20. 45 minutes out from full time, trailing by 2. Here's Fanua Blake coming out the back. Johnson, no look, it bounces up for Dylan Walker. Wrapped up there by Remus Smith. Melbourne had plenty of defence in front of him. They're midway through this set. It's Johnson at the line. Fanua Blake runs towards King. Liero handle him this time. It's Lussick. Brings Barnett onto it. Ran a long way to dummy half did Lussick. The ball put down though by Barnett. Pappenhausen has it. Melbourne to work it away, and instead it's going to be a Warriors penalty. It's a very late call.
Very late call, and it'd be interesting to see just what it's for. Lussick out of dummy half. Thought he had to go out the back to Johnson.
Ruled offside on this near side of the field. And trailing by 2 just beside the uprights, the Warriors say we'll take a look and trying to lock this up at 18 all. It was Jonah Pezzett and Remus Smith who were up very quickly, but the ball changed hands. Pappenhausen came away with it and was tackled, was going to play it, and then the call came of the players being offside.
It was nice work from Lussick out of dummy half. The little deception got rid of the markers. Had he have found Johnson out the back, it was 5 on 2. Remus Smith had to come an awful way infield. An awfully long way infield. And in the end, they've got themselves a penalty, and you would think Metcalf will level the game here. It has been all the Warriors to start this second half.
Melbourne battling for field position. The Warriors have had all the ball and all the points off the back of it. We're locked up here at Amy Park. 18 playing 18. Downstairs to you, Jake.
More good news for the Warriors as that conversion sailed over. You'll see Rocco Berry here. He has passed his HIA. He's about to re-enter the game for the Warriors, and we'll keep you posted as soon as we know the outcome of Tohu Harris's assessment.
I'd be surprised if he didn't pass it, given what we saw on field. Andrew Webster upset in the Warriors coach's box. 23 minutes remaining, and while it's only round 2, there's been some games this weekend already, Mick, where it feels like there is so much on the line. We're only in the middle of March.
It's been awesome. It really has. It's been a great start to the year. And this one has just set up a brilliant final quarter. Locked up when Melbourne really started to put the foot on the throttle in that first half. You thought, they could really get going here, and it could get ugly for the Warriors. What about the character and the ticker of the Warriors fighting back here at Amy Park?
So 2 plays gone. Walker comes to Jackson Ford. We're in Melbourne. You can experience the all-consuming power of Australia's greatest sporting rivalry, the Ampol State of Origin. Game 2 kicks off on Wednesday, 26th of June at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground. Go to nrl.com/tickets to be at the big game at the MCG. Johnson to kick again. Berry back on the field. We're going to put pressure here on Coates, who makes a mistake. It comes to Rocco Berry. He runs towards the line. The referee went down. He got in Hughes' way. It might have been a good thing they didn't score. Metcalf over the top. Montoya for the corner. Marcelo Montoya gives the Warriors the lead. They put pressure on Coates. Berry denied. The referee hit the deck. Montoya scores. What a passage of play.
Unbelievable. Well, Johnson's been relentless, kicking towards Coates, and you sit there and you know how good Xavier is in the air. And he's been persistent, and finally they've come up with an error with Coates. The referee went down midfield as they scrambled to stop Berry. Look at this for a pass. Low, flat, long from Metcalf, right onto the chest of Montoya. Denied in the first half, controversially. and they won't be denying this one. Marcelo Montoya launches himself into the in goal and gets the Warriors' third straight try in the second half. Jones loves it. So too Webster, and the Warriors in front. Can you believe it?
It's just remarkable given what we've seen since the commencement of the second half. This big portion of Warriors fans here tonight lapping it up. 3 tries to come from being down by 12 points at the break to now leading by 4, maybe 6 in a moment if Metcalf can convert.
Well, Jake Duke said that Andrew Webster's message at halftime was 7 errors compared to just the Melbourne Storm's 2. Get it right and we're a chance. They've gone 13, they've gone 12 from 12. They have been faultless in the second half. Absolutely perfect. And they have got themselves 3 tries and they are in front.
Metcalf misses wide to the left. It's a 4-point lead. The Warriors determined to break this 14-game losing streak to the Melbourne Storm. Montoya, as you said, denied in the first half, somewhat controversially. There is Coates again, makes the mistake. Berry set sail for the line. Hughes came across, and Chris Butler suddenly found himself between Rocco Berry and Jerome Hughes.
Oh.
He hit the deck hard, but he's a big body, the referee. A fast body is this man, Marcelo Montoya, bandages and all, with the Warriors leading Melbourne 22-18. That was a fair contact by Jerome Hughes on Chris Butler, wasn't it?
Oh, the big tall timber. Chrissy Butler just come crashing down. It's nasty but funny. There's something enjoyable about it.
He had a moment as well last week from memory, Chris Butler, with a bit of contact. So it's Mitch Barnett to play it. Lussick for Dylan Walker. Back in the middle of the field. A pass knocked on by Metcalf. He was facing his own goal line, but he propelled the ball forward. They don't have their challenge. Neither do Melbourne, and they give a chance for the Storm to hit straight back. Boy, you've got to be so precise going to the line like that and spinning and passing in the one motion.
He's made a huge difference, Dylan Walker. His ball playing through the middle's been great. That time just couldn't get the pass execution spot on. That was a tough one for Metcalf, who is really starting to find a home now at the top level. He's been very good again tonight, Metcalf. But all of a sudden the door now open for the Melbourne Storm.
A run-around play off the scrum win. Great to see it back. He's used to play it at the 20, clutching the back of the neck. Play on is the call, Katoa. There's Josh King pushing up in support, but they take it inside the red zone. Now chasing. After blowing a 12-point lead, McDonald puts it down. A simple error from both teams. The Warriors jubilant to get the mistake from the young forward.
Yeah, just took his eyes off it. He is done a great job, McDonald. You can see there, his eyes just come off the footy. Nothing wrong with the pass from King. Just a lapse in concentration there for McDonald, who has worked really hard whilst being on the field. A real Craig Bellamy type player. He just competes every week, but that hurts.
It's Montoya here at the Warriors 20. Jackson forward. One of the try scorers, the 3 of them in this second half for the Warriors. Lussick finds Mitch Barnett. Handled here. Normal meters, the tackle of King and McDonald. Kamikamitha likewise. Walker back in this middle third running role after filling in at right centre for Rocco Berry. To a piggy, back end of the set. Tackle before the kick, takes a run. They try and limit the speed of the play, the ball there. Katoa jumps out too early from marker, so Johnson untroubled to put the kick in. They go straight back to Xavier Coates. Less pressure this time. He's made the one error. Boy, it was a costly one though. He's good again here. And they'll work it away through Smith. Berry up in his face, going sideways, and now they're jammed in the corner. Look out on these next 2 carries.
Yeah, his career is rapidly elevating Rocco Berry. His right side kick chase is one of the best in the competition, and a very, very strong defender. You could see him just chasing contact. He's having a great second half here. Rocco Berry is an error now.
And rightly so, a penalty against Harry Grant for trying to milk it by purposely throwing it into Jackson Ford. Remember, this rule was changed a couple of seasons ago. Ford trying to get away from it.
It's the right call, and you're right, Warren. It was an edict by the referees a couple of years ago where it became a real trend in our game. Craig can't believe it.
They changed that situation 2 seasons ago, and it gives the Warriors a chance to push this out to a 6-point lead. Grant knew they were struggling. They needed a big play at the back end of the set, and he was desperate and rolls the dice. And I think that little look there of Harry Grant saying, yep, I took a chance. It came up snake eyes.
Yeah, he's a great player, Harry. I think it'll only light the fuse for this remaining 15 minutes. You watch him try and grab hold of the game here. As captain of the side, you're right, he rolled the dice, tried to get a free exit with a cheap little penalty, and Chris Butler having none of it. And I think we'll see Harry Grant go right after the contest now. Just seeing Zalesniak getting some work there. What about his numbers tonight? 2 tries, 13 carries, 157 metres. As Metcalf throws another one between the sticks.
It's a converted try, the difference. The Warriors 24, the Melbourne Storm 18. Watch it again. Grant, no doubt, looked at Jackson Ford and just shoveled the ball into him, hoping to get a penalty, and realises he looks towards the big screen that he gambled and lost on this occasion. NRL 360 is back at its regular time on Monday night. There'll be a lot to talk about. The boys around the desk, Braithen Astor, Paul Kent, Gordon Tallis, and Phil Rothfield. Well, the breaking news and setting the agenda on Monday night, as always, on NRL 360. Kick down to Tuapiki. Took a chance there with Denny Zalesniak. He had a foot either side of the line. May have been able to make a play at it, but Tuapiki was taking no chances.
Well, last year the Warriors against the other top 4 sides, 0-5. Couldn't beat any of them, and what a statement this would be. Coming here to Amy Park, where they've just had an awful record. They've lost 14 straight against the Melbourne Storm, and down 18-6, and everything going the way of the home side. What ticker they've shown to get themselves back in front here. What a win this would be.
Last play as Metcalf will play it. Doing the ducking and diving this time as opposed to Tuapiki. Johnson kicks towards Coates again. Berry is there. They let him make the catch and they'll wrap him up inside the 10, and they have been camped, as we say in the classics, at this end of the field. The Melbourne Storm, to this point of the second half, we've had 27 minutes, Mick. They've only had 5 play the balls in Warriors territory in this second half.
That they have been perfect. They have been perfect, the Warriors.
It's Warbrick. Another strong carry. Boy, he's been good tonight in these yardage sets. It's a big hand from the Melbourne Storm fans, and rightly so. Grant comes to Tyron Wishart, who will play it here at the 40 on the last. Grant for Hughes, runs a long way. Looks to kick in eventually. Tuapiki out near the sideline, needs to get to ground quickly. Does exactly that. We go down to Jake.
Good news for the Warriors, guys. Their captain, Tohu Harris, has passed his HIA. He's up on the sideline for the Warriors, about to re-enter this game.
Real concern here as we see Tohu Harris back on. Tuapiki in some trouble on the far side of the field. Just put the hand up to the trainer. Here's Capewell now.
Swung to ground by Chan. Outside the Warriors 40. 3 tackles gone in this set. He had some rib issues last week. Kurt Capewell proved his fitness to play. Pickle juice and then some. Retained Tuapiki. He might own the local franchise. Here's Metcalf. He's wrapped up. Last play. They've lost their way in the last couple of tackles as Johnson puts it up again. They just keep testing out Xavier Coates. It's been a tough night for the winger, and here they are, like a white and blue avalanche hitting him.
That was brilliant from Johnson. He has just had the magnet on Xavier Coates. It's a great run here from Pappenhausen, much needed one. But leading the chase too, the veteran halfback. Here he is, landing right on the kick. Berry driving low. Johnson over the top. It's good stuff there from the Warriors halfback.
Storm desperate to win some collisions here and get a couple of quick play the balls to try and force the issue at the other end of the field. Boy, Grant's pass there only just held on to by Josh King. Last play, Hughes. The little Blake coming out to put pressure on him again. Kicks across the field, but then he's a Lesniakis here. Runs at Pezzett. He'd back himself every time in that collision. And he hits the ground, winning the battle of the bodies in the middle of the field. Montoya.
Gee, they've been great. The outside backs to the Warriors. Here's Tuivasa-Sheck now looking for work. They have been powerful, really powerful.
There's Harris to Johnson to Apiki. Berry comes away from the sideline there as he, on the angled run, realised he could have been taken towards the touchline. 2 plays left in this set. Johnson for Harris. Here's Metcalf out the back. Tuivasa-Sheck up against Meany again. Offloads to Montoya. He gets the ground. The Warriors have one more. But they bomb towards Coates across the field. Metcalf it is who chips one. A medium-weighted kick. Smith is there. Keeps it in the field of play for Melbourne. They mix it up as far as the kicking. Not a bad option there, but Smith with sure hands brought it down. Andrew Webster can't sit down. And now Pappenhausen loses it. The ball ripped away. Pappenhausen might be penalised here. He will be, and the Warriors can take 2 more points to make it an 8-point lead.
Yeah, they've frustrated them into error. They just have suffocated them in this second half, and Pappenhausen looking to offload the footy. Capewell there just dragging the ball back. No problems with that. Referee was clear saying it was Barnett's footy. Pappenhausen just wouldn't let go. And it gave Chris Butler, the referee, no other opportunity than to penalise Pappenhausen right in front of the post. And the Melbourne big guns getting frustrated.
And you saw the replay there. Chris Butler was right on top of that situation. Saw that it was backwards off the Warriors initially.
Yeah.
Pappenhausen lost the race to the ball with Barnett. Went on with it in the tackle. And from right in front, back-to-back penalty goals to make it a 6-point lead to the Warriors. And now this one for Metcalf to make it an 8-point lead. And Craig Bellamy with 8 minutes remaining, not looking all that positive.
No. They've just had absolutely no opportunity at all. The one time that they got down there, Alec McDonald just came up with an unforced error, just a simple drop. Other than that, they just haven't been down the Warriors end at all to attack. And it's been, he is having a great time tonight, the big fella. He is having a great time. And it's for the Warriors, it's their stars warrant. They are standing up in the second half. There you go. Right on cue, Tuivasa-Sheck. What a second half he's had. That was brilliant. The in, the away, the fend on Meany. It was Tuivasa-Sheck back to his absolute best. He is having a night out. Big Roger.
He looks like the man who won the 2018 Dally M medal. Short restart here, a collision between Johnson and Berry, and things certainly falling the Warriors' way after they were a bit tough on a few occasions for luck in the first half. I think most neutral judges would see it that way. Capewell here brings it back towards midfield.
Harris
Nick, this 14-game drought for the Warriors. We mentioned some of the hidings. You and I did the Anzac Day game in 2022. They lost 70 points to 10. They've also been beaten 50-6 by the Melbourne Storm as Tuivasa-Sheck goes forward. 50-10 back in 2018. They've copped some fathers of hidings by the Melbourne Storm. They're looking for redemption here tonight. It's been put down by Tuivasa-Sheck.
Yeah, very similar to what we saw happened to Harry Grant in the opening half. You can see there just coming forward and a little bobble in the play the ball, and this could be just the moment. 6.5 minutes remaining that Melbourne need. Just open the door a fraction for them here, and at the back end of this set they'll get an opportunity to really lay on some attacking plays.
What have they got here? We've seen them do it so many times in the past during the Craig Bellamy era. It's Warbrick from dummy half. They have had a handful of play the ball still in Warriors territory in this second half. We've had 34 minutes of play. Pezzett showing it back on the inside. They're there for just the 6th play the ball in the second half. Chan playing it. Comes across to Wishart, showing it back on the inside for Liero. Harris to Vita, wraps him up. Back in Warriors colours. It's Grant for Liero. Comes to Pezzett. Grant. Wishart showing it extravagantly there. Does well to poke his nose through the line, and they'll play it on the last at the 20. Grant showing it to Hughes. Back to Pappenhausen. A trick shot from Melbourne. Montoya goes up. Can he bring it back? No, he won't. What about that play to get the ball back via a goal line dropout?
Well, Hughes raced 20 metres across the ruck. Beautiful late show there from Grant. Then Pappenhausen just arrived out of nowhere. And Warbrick just fractionally missed the kick. Had he been there a bit earlier, he may have been able to get over the top of Montoya. That was good work from the Warriors winger. Will Johnson go long? Will he go short?
They love a short one. They lead by 8. He drives it towards the sideline, and there to take it on the full was Jerome Hughes. It was a good kick by Johnson. Well positioned as the opposing halfback.
All right, Jerome Hughes, he was brilliant in the opening 40 minutes. What's he got at the moment?
Comes to Pappenhausen, runs towards Johnson. Some help there from Capewell. They can hang on here, the Warriors. They'll go a long way towards wrapping this game up. Meany at the 20. Midway through the sets, as Grant looks left, goes right for Newell. Blake was there at marker, runs into him. Grant thought he might have had him not square. Hughes now at the line. Liero, a full 360. Harris to Vita in front of him. Barnett also there. Only metres out. On the last play, Grant for Pappenhausen. He grubbers. Watani Zalesniak is there. He cleans up. It's another goal line dropout.
Well, the wingers for the Warriors tonight have been absolutely superb. Pappenhausen just a little wide, almost dropped the footy there as he was trying to drop the ball into his kick position. Zalesniak did brilliantly well. Very, very well with that ball skidding along the wet grass to pick that up cleanly.
Warriors using up every available second on the dropout clock. Again it goes to Hughes, who takes it at the halfway line. Inside 3.5 minutes remaining.
They've got all their attackers up on the front line waiting for the short kick. There's no forwards back around Hughes.
King gets there to take a carry, to take them back inside the 30. Wishart barking instructions at first receiver. Grant goes to him. Liero back on the inside, runs towards Capewell. Strong run, but they need points and they need them now. Grant for Pezzett, comes to Hughes. Pappenhausen back on the inside. Got a lovely ball from Katoa. A Melbourne Storm special. In the nick of time, will give them a chance.
Yeah, he did it in the first half, and it's Pappenhausen at his absolute best. Pushing back through the middle. Such an elusive ball runner with incredible speed. Nice and straight into the line was Pezzett, so too Hughes. Katoa, great skill. The former Warrior, that was beautiful. Big man out on an edge, playing back on the inside. This will show it beautifully. Look at them isolate Metcalf there and Jackson Ford, and then just cutting them like a knife through hot butter. Ryan Pappenhausen. That was brilliant.
It was Chan in the first half who delivered the ball on the inside for this man, Ryan Pappenhausen. Katoa on the right edge, second time around to give them a chance here. With 2.5 minutes on the clock, trailing by 4.
Golden point in Townsville.
Are we going back to back?
We may be going back to back. Golden point.
If Meany can kick it, at worst, you'd imagine in regulation time they'll get a chance at a 2-point field goal from outside the 40. If they can come up with enough meters, Meany bends it back. It's a 2-point game with 2 minutes on the clock in Melbourne.
It's such a great play for Ryan Pappenhausen, and you know it's great coaching because you've just got to coach to the strength of your players, and that is Pappenhausen's strength. Finding little vulnerabilities and being able to expose them with his just blistering speed. What a kick that is for Meany. Great to see him back in the game. Great to see him having highlight moments again. He's looked great at times tonight, Pappenhausen.
There were so many fears for his career off the back of the very serious injury again at the end of last season. He's dynamic. He's grabbed a double tonight to give them a chance. It's Kamikamitha inside his own 20. Melbourne 80 metres away from where they need to be. Maybe they only need to be another 30 or so downfield to give them a chance at a 2-point field goal. Grant comes across to Liero. They'll take it forward through Chan. He's 15 short of the halfway line. They've used up 3 tackles. Grant for Liero, goes out the back. Hughes, Pappenhausen was on the inside. Long ball, Warbrick had to wait. Beats Montoya, runs to Metcalf. Here they are, 40 metres out, 2 plays remaining. Hughes takes it across the 40-metre line. They want to score a try to win it right here. Pezzett across to Coates. They grab him. Berry was there. So was Watene Zalesniak. 35 metres out. It comes to Pezzett, skips back inside the 40, charged down by Barnett. It bounces, Hughes for Pappenhausen. Metcalf grabs him by the collar, gives it to Warbrick. 45 seconds on the clock. Now they're too close. They have to win it with a try. Meany inside the 20. There's time to set it up for the same play again for Pappenhausen to score. Hughes, Pezzett, Pappenhausen, Remus Smith, he goes to Coates! Maybe a Coates! Can you believe it? Coates!
My gosh!
He leaps across, he jumped like a rainbow and came up with a pot of gold for Melbourne! Unbelievable!
That is stunning from Xavier Coates. If he has got that footy down, that's a miracle. The amount of time that he is in the air is dead set unbelievable. It was great work out to their left-hand side. Smith did well just to get the footy in his hands early enough to give him a shot at the line. Zalesniak was coming. Look at this. He leaps from 5 or 6 metres out. Oh my gosh. Oh!
He's 6 feet in the air. It's a photo finish between his left hand hitting the turf and the ball hitting the turf. The ball beats his left hand by centimetres. Watch it again.
Oh, that's the best try I've ever seen.
Need to see the reverse angle once again to see where his left hand is in relation to the ball, just to confirm it. Craig Bellamy watching on. What a shot that is. They're beside themselves in the Storm coach's box. Xavier Coates, he was 6 feet in the air, Mick. It might have been as high as anybody we've seen.
We've seen some incredible finishes over the year. I mean, Zalesniak's had one tonight, but I don't know if we've ever, I'm not sure we've ever seen one like it. That is absolutely ridiculous what he has just done. He's leapt from 6 metres out. He's dead set 5 or 6 metres out from the goal line. He is completely vertical.
Just watch his left hand and the ball just before left hand.
Unbelievable.
It's a split second. Try confirmed, and Melbourne win it here in the most dramatic of circumstances to extend the winning streak to 15 straight against the Warriors. They've scored twice in the final 2.5 minutes of the game. It's cruel for the Warriors, but how composed were the Melbourne Storm Stars when they had to stand up.